Hey writers, it's me Ash. I know it's been a while. Lots been going on. I had to take some time to get settled. I think last time I might have mentioned that we were actually homeless because the house we were living in, they wanted to sell it, and there's a lot going on. And the ex was not trying to help get relocated or anything. I hope you cannot hear this heater going off, but I am freezing. Once you get to know me, I'm always cold. So anyway, yeah, I was gonna go live, and then I realized I didn't know what I was doing, so I will try that later. More education first. So yeah, there was a lot going on. Not that I wasn't taping. I was. I do have some videos that I will post periodically throughout that time, but I just really the other day was, since I'm unpacking, but mostly unpacked. We've been here for a few months and getting settled in our new place. And that's taken some time to get adjusted, to find a new rhythm, being in the house. And it's just me and the kids, which is wonderful. Just no husband, nobody criticizing every time you do something or don't, or new. It's taken a lot to get adjusted, and I needed to take some time to create an atmosphere where I feel comfortable. And if you notice, I'm not in my car. I am in a room I created for myself. It's a lounge area slash business area. So I'm starting a business. Like I said, a lot's been going on. So I thought that we would do something different. Um, I didn't go do any new makeup. This is what I wore today when I ran errands. I just was thinking all day. I read a comment somebody posted. And, I don't do this expecting anybody to say anything. I don't do this expecting any kind of response from anyone. I just hope that the right person, while scrolling in the middle of the night, who is feeling like I was feeling, comes across one of my videos and it encourages them to keep going. That's the reason, is I just want to be the encouragement I couldn't find for myself while I was struggling to try and figure out this whole divorce thing and how I got here. So we are now legally divorced. It was a nightmare trying to get divorced from someone who refuses to participate, but I will make sure I thought I had it with me, but I don't. I finally found the paper that he threw at me. Because those of you that are Christians, in the Bible, it states that, if you find displeasure with your wife, write her a letter of divorce, and, then you can divorce her. Which, I don't know the legitimacy of that, but I didn't think he'd ever do it. And he did. He did. So, that was my one stipulation. And after that, I was like, oh, so bruh is serious. Okay, cool. So, picked my face up off the floor, and, you've seen my videos. So I was trudging along to get it done. And it was a nightmare trying to get it done. I do not understand legalese. I am not good in that area. I am excellent and fantastic in a lot of other things, but that is not one of my fortes, and I suck at that. I spent more time at the courthouse than I even want to admit. I think those ladies at the front desk eventually started feeling sorry for me because a couple of them really took pity on me. I cried the whole time. So one time I had a court date. I thought that the divorce would be final. And I went in there to thinking that the divorce would be final, or that I would get something telling me this day you're divorced. And that's not what happened. It's during COVID, of course. So, and that was another reason why I wasn't doing videos. It was so complicated to try and get this done during COVID. It just made everything so frustrating. I went there one time thinking I was going to divorce. One of my friends actually went to come and meet me there for support because she knew I was losing my crap. Come to find out, court doors weren't open. You could not go into the courthouse, and you had to register some special thing. If you didn't get this in the mail, then you didn't have a court date. I didn't know that. So she and I sat there in the lobby, and I just like was probably about to lose my stuff, and she saw it. We talked, and she took me outside, and it just was not. It was not pretty, but I was glad that I had her support. I don't know that she'll ever see this. She's not a big internet person, so but it really made a difference for me. And eventually, I wound up having to pay an attorney, and his name was Jody, and he was awesome. I explained Jody like I'm very transparent. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. And like I said, I'm good at a lot of things. I am very crafty. I can do a lot of things, but this is my shortcoming, one of my many. But I could not understand what I was doing. And I thought I had all my crap together. I had all my paperwork. I had it all done. I had it filled out. And he's like, no, you've got to have this, that, and the other. And these things have to be done. And so I would encourage anyone. And he's an attorney. So what he does is I paid him like I think $250 or something like that, which I asked the ex for half of, which he never gave me. Whatever. But so I paid him the $250 or something. We sat there, went over the paperwork. He was amazing. I told him exactly why I was here, what I had been through, what I went through in my marriage. And I mean, that guy was so awesome. He literally drew up the paperwork, called the court for me. Like I told him, because twice I had like been screwed over by the courts due to COVID. And so he literally said, okay, let me help you. And just like gave me step by step, like, which was exactly what I needed. And I went to court thinking that they were, because they sent me a letter saying that they weren't going to open the case. The case was closed. They weren't going to deal with this anymore. They wanted it over with. And he told me exactly what to send to the judge and explain to the judge what had happened and that it really wasn't my fault. It was because of COVID. I had some document that I was supposed to get, I never got. And spoke to his secretary, who was really sweet, sent them the letter, all that. And I never thought, I've always had a fear of courts because I've never had good experiences in them. Especially after my ex took me to court to take the kids away from me under false pretenses. I get extremely nervous. Like, even thinking about it, I can feel my heart start to beat. Like, I get really nervous after all the stuff that judge said to me previously when I went for the kids. I've really had like PTSD because of it. Like, that was a horrible experience. Horrible. That judge literally laid into me, and I was the DV victim. She did what he wanted her to do. Like, he used her as a puppet, and she fell for it. Like, she called me names. Oh, it was horrible. She called me names right there in court. She did exactly what he wanted her to do. First, he's a very good manipulator, but she didn't even have any proof to anything he said, but she went on his word. And later I showed up with probably like 15 letters of people from the community, family members, and a bunch of other people to get my kids back, to show that you fell for the biggest trick in the book, you fool. He played you, and you went for it. But I did get my kids back, and God be the glory, I got the victory in that. But I'm telling you, I had to fight. So going to court this time, I was extremely nervous. I really had a huge fear of being able to sit there and be heard, or anybody want to hear anything I have to say. So I did get to go into the court, and it was over the phone. I sent a letter ahead of time, and then Next thing I know, over the phone, the judge finalized everything and just told me, "You're done, hun. Like, you're out of there." And not on top of that, I'm awarding you your alimony. So I was awarded alimony. I could have asked for a lot, but I didn't. I wanted enough so that I could get on my feet and be able to help pay, so my kids wouldn't have to pay rent for a little while, because eventually the goal is for them to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and get on their own. All my kids are adults. I have no little kids, so that was the goal. Um, so I didn't ask for a lot of money. I asked for probably a lot less than most people watching this would have asked, knowing how much money he makes. Um, but I didn't, because the goal is not to be tied to him forever. It's just to be able to get on with my life. And 26 years, I feel like I'm owed a lot. I spent most of those 15, probably 15 of those years as a stay at home mom, which means I have no social security, I have no retirement, I don't have any of that. I have to start over. So I wanted to give my kids a better start, knowing that I'll probably be working for a while, unless I marry rich. But I'm married to be happy. I want to get married because I'm to be happy, and I have every intentions of marrying again. I didn't think I did previously. I didn't think I would want to. Thought about it a lot, and I've just realized after some therapy that that was that situation, that was that man, that was that time, and that doesn't mean that that would happen again. I'm a lot smarter, a lot older. Um, so I've learned a lot, and I guess time will tell. But so I did get divorced, and I was gonna do a lot of stuff. I was gonna keep the name because I use it for a lot of things, but I just decided there's nothing good tied to it except for my children. Outside of my children, there's nothing good tied to that name except for bad memories. Um, it's not like his family and I get together and have tea and crumpets. It's not like they ever talked to me. It's not like they ever called and checked on me. It's not like they even believed that the man was a tyrant. So why? There was nothing for me to keep it for. I then went on to, um, after finding out I was divorced, it sent me kind of like in a spiral. And come to find out, after finding an amazing therapist, I recommend therapy 100%. Matter of fact, I won't tag my therapist, but I will tag the office. Um, I'll put them in the chat, I'll link it in here so that you could call them and maybe set up an appointment with a therapist. I That's going to keep going off, isn't it? It's a friend sending me a message. Didn't shut my messages off, and I decided I'm not deleting crap anymore. It's a lot of work, and I don't have a lot of time. My time is very limited, so sorry. Hopefully, she won't text me again. But I'm sure she was just saying goodnight. Anyway, so yeah, I was able to get that done. That was over with. I cried a lot. I spent a lot of time very sad, very upset, not knowing what was wrong with me. I couldn't quite figure out why I was behaving the way I was behaving, or come here, Shay. My dog is, come on. She's wandering around, and I don't trust her. She's not trustworthy. Um, I just was very different for a little while, and I didn't want the kids to see it. I often spent most of my nights crying. And like I said, I'm being honest because I don't want anyone to feel like I felt like I was ashamed to admit that I cried over a man that abused me for most of our marriage, that mistreated me, that left me to die, that took my kids on a lie. that pretended to be my friend and told me he would never do me like any of my other guys had, men in my life had treated me, that he was so much better than my father and so much better than what my stepfather had ever done to me, and he would never do me like that and never treat me that way. And I was the sun, the moon, the stars, blah 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 blah. And then so yeah, I was a little heartbroken, to say the least, a little betrayed, a little betrayed. So it took some time. And I couldn't figure out why sometimes I didn't want to eat, why sometimes I didn't want to get out of bed, um, why I felt like I was always in a fog, why I felt very distant from people. I would be at events and I really wasn't there. Um, Due to the molestation as a kid, I've struggled with dissociation disorder. And it's kind of where there's certain trigger things that will trigger, and I'll just separate myself, like go into. My mom used to call it daydreaming, so we can call it daydreaming. I would go into a state of daydreaming and not be there because that was comfort for me instead of being in a place where I felt uncomfortable. It's much better now, but there was a time, especially in my marriage, I did it quite a bit. It was a safety crutch for me, and it goes